snuggles when I get home.
Yeah. Me and my fur babies, I hear you. It's
And not to mention the other two dogs I have home that are probably
yeah,
like,
exactly.
are you coming home to feed us?
Right, yeah. It's been one of those Mondays where I'm like, I literally just said to Megan, I want my mommy. Hey there, I'm Holly. We've run into each other several times.
My name's Andrew.
Andrew?
I'm actually a new reporter.
Awesome.
Andrew, Megan, nice to meet you. Maybe you can
Check, check, check.
if you want as well.
Okay.
We both just have something you wanted to do.
Thank you.
Where do you want to be? Because we're going to live stream this.
We'll do
so-
podium, so
Okay, cool.
I'll try to be as center as I can for you. It's a little big, so I always look like a yeah.
They always say, you look so much, we thought you were like 6 feet tall. And I'm like, in what universe?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
never.
Just put your mic up here.
Yeah, go ahead. Are they still looking for anyone? No.
Okay.
So I'll have like, pretty much.
Do they, are there still placing called?
For now there is. Eventually we'll release the park.
Okay.
The hope is that programming will continue tomorrow as usual with just extra of our staff and stuff there.
Okay.
Yeah. As much as pretty much I can give is in the release, so I can regurgitate some of that for you guys, just so you have some sound bites, but probably not a lot more
Yeah.
than that. when it
And if
comes
you
to
can't
questions.
answer them, just don't.
Yeah, I won't, yeah.
Then you don't have to.
You got it. Appreciate your patience. I know we have a few more stations that called me wanting to come, so I'm going to give them a few minutes. We'll go to 9:05 and then we'll roll, because I gave at least a little bit of time.
Yes, thank you.
If anybody rolls, I'm going to give it till 9:05 and then we'll go.
So Andrew, I used to be at 26. Nina's my girl.
Yeah.
You say hi to me for me.
Okay, for sure.
I wish I knew. Holly. I run into Margaret regularly in Fond du Lac,
Oh, yeah.
which is usually where the hub is of entertainment is going.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
Yes, it has. It's been a busy place this summer.
Yeah. Yeah, it really has.
Were you guys out at the AA stuff the last couple days?
I was trying to drive to Milwaukee with my dog on Saturday,
Oh.
but instead I was mostly trying to coordinate.
The
Other
things.
people.
Yeah.
Do you know so-and-so, will you call them? Will
Yeah.
you do this, will you blah, blah, blah. And then otherwise, okay, yeah, but I was there on Monday and Thursday,
Okay. Got it.
and then I did sentencing for the Reptown
Oh,
on
yeah.
Friday. And, you know,
All those
just
things.
another day.
Yeah.
Taylor should did some minutes, right? So it's been quiet now. You guys are overdue.
Yeah. Knock on some wood.
Yeah.
We don't say that Q word very often
I know.
around here, right?
Well, I was telling Meg earlier, it has been way too quiet here.
Any questions off the jump from that, guys, that you want me to at least try to clarify first? Or I can say I can't answer, so you don't have to ask it, and then I say no?
I think why don't you go ahead and
Your thing.
and talk and speak, and then we'll ask you questions. And if you can't answer this time,
Sure.
then just say that, and that's
Sounds
fine.
good. One thing that's not specifically in there, we have in there that like staff will be available tomorrow. There'll obviously be additional like support for families or anybody who's involved
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
still traumatic.
But that's still like
Yeah.
logistics needing to
Okay.
be sorted out, but I may just mention that as part of
Okay.
any additional things.
Okay.
I'll check the lobby and then we'll get started.
So I just graduated from Marquette.
Cool.
I'm originally from Chicago here,
Okay.
so
Awesome.
coming up here and used everything.
All right, let's do it.
We'll reach out if you need anything. I'm nice, that's what I'm not, I'm working some repairs that knock you down, though.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
All right, Mike's sounding okay? You guys good?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Can you tap on my mic?
Yeah, good? Okay. Ready? All right. So at approximately 4:30 p.m. today, Appleton police officers responded for reports of a disturbance at Erb Park. When they arrived on scene, they located an injured person, and several people fled the area at that time. While they were providing medical attention to the injured person, they saw several people run. That person was eventually rendered aid by our officers as well as Gold Cross staff and then transported to a local hospital. As they secured that perimeter, they used several different resources to be able to identify the parties involved. Due to the ongoing nature of the investigation, we are still completing those investigative tactics, whether that's video, surveillance, as well as interviews with witnesses and others involved. Our investigators are working diligently to be able to bring this to a conclusion. And ultimately, at this point, one person is in custody related to this incident. And based on what we know right now, we believe that it was a targeted attack at this point. It continues, and it's something that obviously we take very seriously for our community. We do not believe that there's a greater risk to our community at this point. But the Appleton Police Department would like to assure the community that we take this very serious. And if there's anybody with any information related to this incident, to please reach out to the Appleton Police Department. And tomorrow we will continue to have staff available, as well as work with Park and Rec staff to have additional support for anybody who was in the park at the time of this disturbance. At this point, any witnesses are critical for us to be able to continue to piece together what happened tonight. And it's very important to have that support from our community that we saw tonight, allowing us to complete the investigation as best as we could tonight.
Okay. Can you tell us how seriously injured this person is, or is it life-threatening?
So at this point, I don't know the status of the individual that was injured. They were transported by ambulance to a local hospital.
Okay. We had also heard that this that there was a pool of blood on the basketball court. Did this happen while someone was playing basketball?
So we know what was happening in the park. There was an exchange with a firearm that occurred. That person was injured by the use of a firearm. We're still putting together exactly what circumstances led to that and exactly where they were and why that maybe occurred in that location.
Is the person in custody a juvenile?
At this point, I don't know the specific age of the person in custody. I know we have one person in custody, and we hope to be able to have more information by tomorrow morning.
Can you tell us if the person injured or the person in custody is male or female?
At this point, no. Just based on those that are involved, we want to make sure that those notifications get made to family and that we're able to make sure that everyone's aware of what unfolded tonight.
Okay. Why do you believe this was targeted?
So based on some investigation that has already occurred and witnesses that we've spoken to, the information we have at this time leads us to believe that there was some disturbances that occurred involving some individuals together, which then erupted in this disturbance today.
Some witnesses told us this may have been related to a fight yesterday. Is there any truth to that?
It's possible. At this point, we're still trying to track down so many people that ran and determining that's why the shelter in place was put in place at the time. We didn't know how many people that ran from the park were related to the incident or just were in the park and running for their own safety. So that's where now our investigators are working through all of those witnesses and then tracking down additional people that we know left the park that may or may not have been involved.
Okay. Is the suspect from this area?
I believe that the suspect's from the Fox Cities.
Okay. one more question and then I'll, sorry. This is a super nice park. Has anything like this ever happened there before? You know, in a normally quiet area of town, it really surprised a lot of people. Even after the shelter-in-place order, people were still out walking their dogs, you know, clearly not a lot of fear in that area.
For the city of Appleton, this is something that we don't want to have happen in our community, and it's something we're not going to tolerate. So it's something that we want anybody who's considering bringing violence into our community to know that we are going to work diligently to make sure that as soon as something like this could even begin to happen, that, like tonight, we locate who's involved and we resolve it as quickly as possible.
How long was that shelter in place for?
It was in place a little bit longer than we probably needed it to be, and that was with the intention of making sure we were absolutely positive that there wasn't any other people that we needed to track down related to the incident.
Okay. And do we know how many people were at the park at that time that fled, like an estimate?
So at this point, we're currently looking at video footage to be able to see, you know, where do people go? Did they run to their vehicles? Obviously, it's a very busy park with a lot of programming. So at this point, it's leading to more of, there was a lot of patrons in the park for that time of the night. It was the early evening, people are out. It's a very active neighborhood. And that's where, for us as a police department, adds that level of even higher concern that somebody would think to do this in our parks.
Any truth that these people might have shot at each other?
No, not at this point.
Okay. What's the most important thing that you want the community to know?
That Appleton Police Department takes incidents like this very serious. And on the eve of National Night Out, which is a time where we say, you know, we're going to tell crime it's not okay to happen, this is a great reminder of that we are a community that comes together and does everything we can to make sure that our community remains safe. And it takes every single one of us. And tonight's a great example of community members coming and being willing and patient to do those interviews, which led to us being able to have someone in custody.
And the park is open tomorrow, but they
It
will
is.
have people available if...
Yeah, programming is going to continue in the park. We'll have additional staff up there, as well as, you know, we're working through logistics to be able to have additional support staff available for anybody who would have been involved, or, you know, this is a traumatic incident, even just for somebody to see on the news. So if there's something that we can do to help support people, we are here, and we're open to however we can do that. All right, thank you, guys.